So good to have you all here again in this program, Ehiliz Talk Show. God's name be praised. VividView, say and do it. You cannot build a reputation on what you intend to do. Say something, somebody.
My name is Ogo Clement. You cannot build a reputation on what you intend to do. This simply means that reputation is built on activities, events that have happened in the past, that has gradually summed up to make an impression in the hearts of people. So you cannot build a reputation based on what you intend to do in the future. Rather, reputation is built on what has already happened in the past. Thank you.
My name is Chibuzo Malvin. You cannot build a reputation on what you intend to do, which means you get to build a reputation on what you have done and have experienced already. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contributions. Indeed, you cannot build a reputation on what you tend to do, but rather on what you have done. That is why most times they ask for antecedents. What are your past behavior? What are the past things you see that people can actually see and have impression on you? If there's nothing to show up, you cannot build a reputation. So it's usually on what you have done. Enough of this. We'll go straight to the discussion for the day. Very quickly, the topic for discussion today is building the fabric of nationhood. The guests will introduce shortly after this break. Please don't go away. VividView, say and do it. Welcome back. In case you're joining us, the topic again is building the fabric of nationhood. And with me in the studio is a legal practitioner. Let's welcome Mr. Ogo Clement Aboadimma.
VividView,
say and do it. Before discussion proper, please follow us on social media handles are displayed on the screen. Mr. Boye, welcome again.
Thanks.
Please, can we quickly have your introduction, definition, and perspective on this subject matter?
Nationhood, building the fabric of a nationhood.
Yeah.
Well, the point here is that a nation is an independent organization. Like Nigeria attained nationhood in 1963 when it gained independence. So it's like being free from colonial domination. Is a nation that has the ability to organize things for themselves. So primarily, Nigeria is a state or a nation and is no longer under colonial rule. But let me not say that we have arrived, so to speak, because I remember that late Sam Mbakwe, the former governor of Imo State, said we need Britain to come back to recolonize us because of the appalling state, despite the nationhood. We need Nigeria. And you can see what is happening in Nigeria today, that call is still opposite. The factors, the reprehensible factors inherent at that period in the 80s, when Mbakwe made this call, is still with us.
That's too sad.
So there's a problem. And in fact, I think we have a long way to go. But I know that, like, I'm a believer in God, God will help us. When I was growing up as a child, as a teenager, my uncle told me and said, Ogo, that Nigeria is in jeopardy. I was a teenager and I went back to check the dictionary meaning of jeopardy.
In danger, serious danger.
Serious danger. And you can see that Nigeria is, my uncle is late now, but Nigeria is more in jeopardy than even that period my uncle said, that when I was, you can imagine when I was a teenager. Even that period, Bambu said that Nigeria was in jeopardy. So, in fact, to me, we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder.
According to Obasanjo,
may it not explode. I say again, may it not explode.
Amen. Oh.
So that this my opening prologue. In fact, when I remember what Dogon Yaro, his speech, as the coup speech, he said that our hospitals are mere consulting clinics, that our educational system have collapsed. These things are still here with us, despite the many military regimes we have had. So I think that the way forward is that I remember the third world nations like China, India, Singapore. They have developed polity, stable polity as a nation, economically and politically. And you see they're advancing. And we also fellow third world nations. Will we remain a developing nation for life? That is the question we begin to ask. So I think we will get there. They say Rome was not built in a day, but we believe we will get there.
It's really sad, as you mentioned. You just mentioned just few people that have been talking about Nigeria since we got our independence. Even musicians played about it. We remember Fela. He sang so much about Nigeria, even late Sonny Okosu and all that. Even including me, my music I released 2014.
That's interesting.
19 songs that still talk about peace and the way our nation is. We're only growing in size more and more. A development and making people to feel happy as citizens of Nigeria. We have not really gotten there. And that is so serious. Because you just mentioned China and Singapore. China, now, we won't say maybe it's because of our size, because China is, they are well, in size, they're bigger than Nigeria. So it's not just our size alone that's causing this, but I think the major thing we have is our leadership. And God will help us, so that we don't sit on gunpowder, as President Obasanjo said a few weeks ago. But that takes me to the next question. Why should we now build the fabric of our nation, having seen these things we just mentioned that it's not right?
It is very, very important. In fact, there is need for us to build the fabric of our nation. And I want to say that, honestly, there is room for that. There is room for that. Like you mentioned, leadership. If the leadership problem is pointing us in the face, day in, day out, we need peace. We need peace. We need to build the fabric of our nation. In fact, so that the Japa syndrome will stop. Yes. You see how come that for several years that the former head of state was in power, he was seeking medical attention abroad.
Outside the country. He wants it tomorrow. They're still doing that.
So there's a problem. There's a problem. And then there's a brain drain. Our youths are moving. If you have opportunity, you want to move. So there is need for us to get our acts together as a nation. And I want to believe that God will help us, because I'm not a pessimist. I believe in the fact that there is the possibility that God will match us through. Now, honestly, the late sage Obafemi Awolowo, he said, the question, how do we break? We need to encourage the system that we have found ourselves. We need to move forward. Awolowo said that he does not want his driver who is driving him, for the children of those his drivers to drive his own children. Then he said he does not want his cook who is cooking for him, for the children of those his cook to do what? To cook for his own children. In fact, I remember that there's a lady, a senator or House of Representatives, who was the daughter of a driver of Babangida. And she was celebrating that today, herself and the daughter of Babangida are fellow senators. At a time, she was the daughter of the driver of Babangida. And then today, both the former the boss of her father and herself are sitting together in the Senate. These are the things. So we need to.
We want such progress.
Exactly. We should pursue justice, togetherness, and all what have you. Steve Biko said that, why are we bragging? We are bragging as a nation when we wear expensive clothes that are manufactured by another race.
Yes.
And we are bragging. We are bragging as a nation when we drive beautiful cars that are manufactured elsewhere.
Everything we Nigeria is important.
Everything.
It's important.
In fact, even we cannot even produce toothpick. We import toothpick. So there's a problem. So we need to really help ourselves, and of course it's like a contribution.
Make the environment conducive for everybody to dwell in.
And I want to also say leadership.
Yes.
Leadership, and I think we'll get there by the grace of God.
Thank you. We'll take a break now. Come and continue. VividView. Say and do it. Welcome back. We are still discussing building the fabric of nationhood. And that takes me again, Barrister, to the other question. Say, now that we are discussing, why do we now need to foster peace among different ethnic groups and components of the state?
The state of peace cannot be overemphasized. Honestly, war is anachronistic.
It's not what anybody hoped for. It's out of it.
I'm an Igbo man. And I don't make mistakes about it. I was 3 years when the Civil War started.
Okay.
And I remember that as the war was raging, as a child, children know events. You can, events. I couldn't have known what the war was, but because of what was happening, you see Ojukwu, there was this, so I knew what was happening. But I remember vividly that I ate rats and lizards at the age of 3 and 4.
Protein
because it was protein.
Yes.
To avoid kwashiorkor. To avoid the I ate yes, and each time I was sleeping and I see there was this trap they will set in the house. So I remember there was a time I was sleeping and the trap got the rats and I say, oh, food for me. So I was happy that at least I will eat. And why were my parents doing that? Because to avoid over 1 million Igbos died during the Civil War. So war is an anathema. War is not something so we need to foster brotherhood. The government should strive to foster brotherhood, unity. Now, the Akpabio was saying that if we had this, national anthem, the one that came, that Nigeria would have developed, moved higher, moved speedily. I said, well, I don't know what is a national anthem. But the fact is that I know there's a place they said, in brotherhood we stand. So there's need to foster peace. I remember I was reading something, that Central African Republic. There's this Hutsi and Tutsi. Two tribes, they intermarry, but when civil war came to that country, they were killing themselves.
That's genocide now for Rwanda.
Moderator, if there's a war in Nigeria, we cannot control the genocidal problem that will arise out of it.
At this time now.
A
lot of intertribal.
It is not possible. Exactly. It will be seriously genocidal that it will be seriously to. In fact, even the Red Cross and United Nations will find it difficult to, because we are so many. So we are preaching for unity in diversity. Peace is essential for progress. And when thank God that we have remained like this, an indissoluble, indivisible nation, to the glory of God. And because if it has gone the other way, Nigeria will have broken apart, and the good Lord will help us.
So it's important that each and every one of us preach peace wherever you are.
Sure.
As a youth, preach peace. This diversity is a blessing to all of us. The size of Nigeria is a blessing. That is why other nations find difficult to come and say let us overtake Nigeria because we are really many. And so that's what we're preaching here. Let the Hausa say Abi Hausa, to hell with Yoruba. Yoruba should not say Abi Yoruba, to hell with Igbo. Igbo not say Abi Igbo, to hell with dudes or whatever.
Precisely.
So we should be one. That's what we are saying here. Building the fabric of nationhood. We cannot build it if we are not one. It's only when we cooperate as one entity, that we can move forward. The progress we are expecting from Nigeria is not forthcoming because we are still divided. Politicians are divided us more and more.
Along
Religion divides us more and more.
Yes.
And that's where we are. Tribe. Oh. So, but if we can come together and remember that we are just Nigeria, we'll be able to do something well, and everybody will be happy. For me, I'm always happy to be a Nigerian. No? I'll pray to God and say, God, you know the reason why you brought me from this part of the world. And I'm glad to be in Nigeria. How about you watching me now? Are you proud to be in Nigeria? We always see very easy for us to Nigeria. Don't spoil. Who's spoiling Nigeria? Is it not me and you that spoil Nigeria? Check yourself and see whether you are doing well, even as a person. So let us try and build Nigeria together. Though tribe and tongue may differ. I've been saying it even before our president decided to bring back that anthem. We have said it repeatedly here. Especially Janet Johnson. He's always mentioning that though tribe and tongue may differ.
In
but the
brotherhood we
stand. Let us stand there as a brother. But do you know something so funny? Outside Nigeria, they cooperate too.
Yes.
If you go outside Nigeria, Yoruba and outside, there's no difference.
Yes.
It happened to me in Hungary. No, Hungary, far country from here. I met an Hausa, a Muslim man now, this one of who remember that's not because they don't even speak English. So even it's difficult for him to understand. Communication will become a problem. There's only one professor there that's a Ghanaian, that's the one that can, he's also the one that came to pick me from the airport and all that. So when we got there, at least I can speak English. He can speak English. We became one because we're also from Nigeria. Nothing like even Muslim. Nothing like even saying this one that Christian or the woman. No. If you want to go and eat, you come in my room. I come down. We go and eat together. He is there. But when we come here, Muslim, Christian, no. I'm from the north. I'm from the east. So that cooperation we give ourselves outside. Can we come into Nigeria and do the same, cooperate the same manner, so that we can build a nationhood? So important because there's no other country we can call our own. We'll take a break now. VividView. Say and do. Welcome back. We are still discussing building the fabric of nationhood. Based on explanations, Barrister, what is the significance of nationhood to our existence as citizens and democracy at large?
It's just like the family unit. It's very important. So I see Nigeria as a family, like you were already saying. And there is need for cooperation from the governed and the governed.
Yes.
We cannot whittle down the essence of leadership. And also the governed. I went to the court to file a case, and the lady said I should give her something. I said, even if I will give you something, it should be after. You don't collect something to do your job. So at times we criticize, so it's important that we act. There was the war against indiscipline during the two-day Idiagbo regime. Yes, Buhari and the Idiagbo. So the importance of building the nationhood cannot,
overemphasize.
It cannot. So because if we see ourselves as, like she was saying, the brotherhood we stand, and okay, the lady, I now told her that she said she will see that I'll see my file elsewhere. I say, if you do it, I will petition you to the Chief Judge of Lagos. That was why she began to pant and decided. So the point, I say, I won't give you anything, but I can appreciate you after you have done something. So what are we saying? Our leaders should be up and doing. Now, look at the importance. Let us, like I was mentioning about Awolowo, let's encourage one another. Our national cake cannot be in one.
Cannot be one-sided.
And then nepotism, favoritism. I mean, it has become a frightening dimension. It has assumed a frightening dimension. That even some of you will know that the retiring Chief Judge of Nigeria, Chief Justice of Nigeria, appointed his son a judge, appointed his the wife of that his son a judge too, and then appointed his brother a Justice of Court of Appeal, and then appointed his cousin auditor of the National Judiciary. I mean, but he signed a code of conduct to be fair to all parties. So is he only your son? Is the wife of your son?
He's qualified to take all these responsibilities.
So what are we saying? That so it's not criticizing government. There is also the fact of the citizenry. How are we pushing that Nigeria will come and be a better nation? How are we forging it ahead? How are we doing it? So, and I think, okay, look at, like I said, the national cake. Look at the jumbo cars that are being bought by our senators. 89 million exotic car. And then some people cannot feed for 1 square meal. Now, we're not talking of 3 square meals. You know, when we're in university, you say 001 or 110 or so. But it's still happening. You see, look at the protests that nearly came. So the importance of fixing the fabric of our nationhood, I mean, like I said, we cannot emphasize. The senator, in fact, I am advocating that we should have one national assembly, what do you call it? Let it be only House of Reps or Senate. It's a bloated something, and they have assistants, about 5. Moderator, when President Goodluck Jonathan wanted to travel to South Africa for the Olympics, do you know that 56 senators joined him? 56 senators joined him. Now, so you can imagine how we are wasting our national cake. Now, the Hajj operation, I understand that over 90, is it billion or whatever, I don't know, that was spent in Hajj operation. Now, why are you encouraging somebody to go for Hajj operation? It's a religious affair, or to go to Jerusalem. Why should? Because there are certain things that, you know, that are beneficial to the government. And these people are people who are well to do. Already.
They can afford by themselves.
I mean, they can afford to go to Saudi Arabia. They can afford to go to Jerusalem. So there are a lot of wastages. So it is very important that we begin
at the detriment of the poor masses.
At the detriment of the poor masses.
Suffering, they close their eyes to it.
The hunger is real. Yes, the hunger is real. So let us avert a revolution. So you saw what happened in the north. So people are calling for military Russia and the rest of it. Let us. I'm a lawyer and I keep saying
we can't go back to military law.
By the grace of God.
No way.
I keep saying that the best.
It's not an option at all.
It's not an option.